Good morning. Welcome to the Jessica Ruth Knits podcast. I am Jessica, and today is May 21st. It is Sunday, and I am podcasting from California. So, welcome to the podcast for anybody that is new, and welcome back for any of my returning viewers. If you are a returning viewer, you will know that I do not live in California. I currently live in Arkansas, and I'm in California for the summer, so because my husband and I are doing IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. So I have been out here in California for about 2 weeks now. I am staying at my parents' house and enjoying the lovely weather, and I started work right away. I just transferred. I work at Starbucks, so I transferred from the Arkansas store to one of the California stores here. So that's been going really well, and I have been doing a ton of knitting. So if you are a follower, you know that back in Arkansas, we live in a tiny house and we have a little hobby farm, and there is always something to do. As soon as I get home from work, I have chores. There's always some catastrophe, like a goat's gotten out and you have to fix the fence, or, something's always going on. So there's not, we don't have TV back in Arkansas. So there's always something to do and something that needs to be done. And here in California, I'm feeling kind of spoiled, but also really bored. Because my parents are on a trip. They're actually cruising down the Mississippi right now with my grandparents. So I'm home alone in this house. My husband's not here. I have no animals. My parents have this huge tortoise, but all you have to do for him is just feed him some lettuce, and all he wants to do all day is sleep and move around the yard slowly. So it's not like I can even go out and play with the tortoise. So all that is to say, I've had a lot of knitting time. I also have been going on lots of walks. My parents live in a beach town, so as I'm walking, you just have the view of the whole Monterey Bay. So it's absolutely gorgeous. California, where we are, is not humid, so you can actually walk outside when it's 80 and you're not dying. So I've been enjoying my time, but I'm also missing back home. But I've been doing a lot of knitting, and this is a knitting podcast, so let's talk about some knitting. So I, for some reason, have been on a sock kick. Now, I wanted to work on socks on the plane because they're portable and they're easy, and you don't have to have a whole sweater out on your lap in the little airplane. So I thought socks would be the perfect items to take for travel. So I believe the ones I worked on the plane were these ones. Now, I showed you, I believe last episode I had one done, maybe half of one. But what I had done is last year I had knit a sock using this yarn, and it was the Squircle pattern, Squircle. Side note, there probably won't be much editing of this video, so there won't be descriptions popping up in the down bar, because normally I do all of that on my computer, and my computer is back in Arkansas. So if I can figure out how to do it on the iPad, I will, but if you don't see the words and all of the links, it's because I don't know how to do it on the iPad. But anyways, I had knit a sock using this yarn, and I had only knit one, and I didn't really like it. I love the yarn, but I didn't like the pattern. It just, I don't know, it wasn't my favorite. So I thought rather than knit a second one that I don't really love, I should just knit a sock I do love. So I made, this is a little bit higher than a shorty. It maybe comes over the ankle bone. So you will see this in a shoe. So I knit this one, and it's made like that. So these are super fun, super easy. It's just probably 2.5 inches, maybe 3 of 2x2 rib, a Fish Lips Kiss heel. I think I did like 2 rows plain before I started the Fish Lips Kiss. And then just straight down the foot. You can see there is a little bit of laddering going on because these ones, did I do them on double points? No, these ones were done on Magic Loop. And for Magic Loop, I use my Chagoos, size 0s. Yeah, I think it's 36-inch cord. It might be 40. But I don't prefer Magic Loop or double points. Like, I don't prefer either one, but I prefer them both over 9-inch circulars. I hate 9-inch circulars. But I will interchange. I mean, I'll have one pair of socks going on Magic Loop and one on double points, and I like them both the same. So yeah, so these are just vanilla, basic. I'm excited to wear them here because it is hot, and so I think shorty socks will be very practical. So that is finished object number 1. Finished object number 2 is also some socks, and these are my snowman socks. Now this yarn is nomadic yarns? Yeah, I was gonna say nomadic acres, but that's no makers. This is nomadic yarns, and the colorway is Knit Night. And I believe I saw it on the Grocery Girls like a year and a half ago. I've had the yarn forever, so I don't even know if it's still a colorway they offer. But I saw the yarn on the Grocery Girls. It was titled Knit Night, and I had to have it. So I ordered it, and I had knit that first sock and didn't like it. So I'm super excited to finally have a pair of socks out of this yarn that I like and that I'll wear. So yeah, I'm super happy about these ones. My next ones, the yarn is Nora George yarn, in the colorway The Snowman, and this was a kit. This was gifted to me. If I hold it back here, no, it's gonna blow out there. So this was based off of the children's book The Snowman, and I already put it away on the bookshelf, but if you are interested in what the book looks like, I posted on my Instagram a picture of these socks next to the book. So the book is a children's book. It has no words. It's all pictures. And it's about this adventure of this snowman and this little boy. So the black is for the snowman's buttons. The orange there is for his carrot nose. He has a green top hat that he wears. And then he's kind of just like a cream colored snowman guy. So these are also funny because I knit the first one and I think I was on the airplane, so I couldn't really try it on. And I looked at it and I was like, yeah, that's gotta be long enough. And I put the toe in. And then after I got settled here, I tried it on and it fit, but then the heel, instead of being on my heel, was like on the underside of my heel. So it was not gonna work. It was not gonna be wearable. So then I cast on for the second one. And I don't know if I had the second one done, cast on already, but I made the second one like an inch longer than the first one, and then I put the toe in on that one, and then I had to go back and unpick the toe from the first one that I made, add an inch to that, and then put in a new toe. So it seemed like a lot of back and forth, but in the end, it's a pair of socks that I will wear. They fit perfectly. It just seems so long from the heel to the toe. But I do wear a size 10 shoe, so I don't have petite feet. Nothing about me is petite. So, I mean, it looks really long, but they don't stretch like commercial socks do. So, again, there's the pair. These guys are longer, because I'd already knit the cuff before I discovered that I absolutely love shorty socks. So I'll still definitely wear these, but I think shorty socks I'll get more use. But again, it's Nora George yarns in the Snowman colorway. And these were knit on double points. Oh, yeah. So I started these a little bit ago, and then I had stopped because I was knitting them on my Zings. And Zings are the needles where, I don't have one out here, where it has the little metal tip on it, and my little tip fell off. So then it was just like a stub, and you can't knit with that. So I had debated, do I want to buy more? I couldn't find any of my other double points, my metal ones. So it kind of just got put on hold. And then finally, when I was organizing some of my knitting tools, I found more of my size 0 metal needles. So these are knit with all of it's like 3 zings plus 1 just plain metal needle. So then I was finally able to finish them. So these guys were done on double points. Yeah, I think that's about all. I need to weave in the ends on the inside, but I tucked them all in after I Kitchenered the toe, so they would look pretty for the podcast for you guys. But yeah, so I love them. So that is finished object number 2. 2 pairs of socks so far from this trip. And then, because I have not got over my sock excitement, so I knit my Find Your Fade shawl, and I absolutely love it. Pretty much out here in California, I wear it everywhere because it's chilly in the mornings here. I mean, it's like 48, 50, so it's definite shawl weather, and then it warms up probably afternoon. The fog rolls away and it gets pretty warm. So it's been like high 70s, low 80s. So definitely not shawl weather in the afternoon, but mornings and evenings it's shawl weather. So I brought my Find Your Fade out here and I wear it like every day. And I had a bunch of yarn left over from the shawl. And so I didn't want to just have all of these random extras, not do anything with them. So I thought it would be really fun to do a pair of socks with all of my fade colors. So I cast on these socks from the toe up, and yeah, I'll show you, so I only have one. This is my half finished object. It might blow up there. So I cast on here, and this is all of my colors in the Find Your Fade shawl that I did. And I went ahead, so it's just vanilla. I cast on 10 on each needle, so 20 total, and magic looped it up to here. And I just did, when I faded the colors, see, it fades so perfectly, guys. I think I did 3, color A, color B, color, 3 times. So 6 rows of every other row was a color. Here you can kind of see the stripes better. Right there. But yeah, I didn't really count. It is not exact. I used less of this light blue here because this is a single. And while a single worked fine for my shawl, I don't think singles hold up very well for socks. So that is why I made these shorty socks so that, it's bad glare, so that the single would be in the center. Otherwise, if I'd made them long, the single would be right here. And that is right here is where it gets the most wear and tear. So I did not want that to be the single. So I thought I like shorty socks, and that way the single would be right in the middle. So hopefully it won't wear out. I debated if I wanted to even include it, but I really wanted the socks to have all of the colors from my Find Your Fade. And I thought it might be too big of a jump from this color here down to this guy. So I think you really need that light blue transition. Yeah, and then I debated, do I do the heel in this color here, like this light creamy with all the speckles, or do I do a pop? And I just thought a pop would be such a blowout. I thought a pop would be really fun to put in there. So to show you, these are quite a bit shorter than my other ones as far as shorty socks go. Yeah, and then we can ladder it like that, so you can see the difference. Yeah, so these ones I was worried that they would be too short, and I was worried once I put on my tennis shoes that the heel of the shoe would kind of pull this down. You know how sometimes it does on socks that are too short, but it doesn't. So I walked around the house wearing one sock and one shoe, and then I was barefoot on the other foot to see if it was fine. And I thought it wouldn't be that big of a deal if I had to make it taller. Since I did them toe up, I can always just unpick the cast off and make it half an inch or an inch taller. But it was fine. So I'm going to cast on the second one here soon, and then I will have a pair that I can wear. And this one has a ton of ends that I'm really not excited about weaving in. Like even the inside looks really pretty. There's just a ton of ends. So, yeah, that's not going to be fun, but I think it makes a gorgeous sock. So, it will be worth it. What else did I want to say about this one? Oh yeah, so on Wednesday I had a consultation appointment with my doctor, and it was just like a this is what IVF is, do you want to do it type appointment. So I had sent over all of my records from the clinic in Arkansas to the clinic here, and so we just kind of went over my records, and he's like, yeah, you know, I think you need to do IVF as your next step. And so he just explained what they're gonna do. So it wasn't really anything new, I guess. I mean, every clinic is a little bit different, but it was just basically like, this is what it is type thing. So that was on Wednesday, and my appointment was in the afternoon. And my parents and my grandparents flew out Wednesday morning. And the clinic's in San Jose and the airport's in San Jose. So they asked if I could take them to the airport. And so I was like, well, sure. I will just drop them off at the airport, and then I'll go kill time. There's like a shopping mall and a whole bunch of stuff to do in San Jose. So I was like, I won't have any trouble killing time until 1:30 when my appointment was. So I packed my knitting. Well, I had to drive my mom's new car, and it's brand new, like off the lot, and it's a huge Yukon XL. The thing is a beast. They call it Big Red, and it is so modernized, the car. Like, so if we're just sitting in our driveway, and if I'm backing out, like even if I'm not in the road, if a car is coming from the left, the seat vibrates on the left. And if a car is coming from the right, the seat vibrates on the right. So that way it's telling you like, stop, you know, the car's on the right or the car's on the left. And like the mirrors, they have this little like flashy car light. So because there's a huge blind spot because the car is so big. So if a car is in your blind spot, the mirror, like the side mirror, flashes at you to tell you don't merge because there's a car there. And if you're driving down a lane and you start to like if you start to fall asleep, you know, and you start to swerve out of the lane, the car will bring you back into the lane. I mean, it's just crazy how modernized this car is. I thought my truck was fancy when I got it because on the radio it told you who was singing, and that's like as fancy as my truck is. My truck still has a cassette player, and I love my truck, don't get me wrong, but going from driving my truck to driving my mom's car, and I was over the hill in like a super populated metro area, so the streets are, you know, like there's a ton of traffic, the lanes are narrow. It's not like I was driving back country roads, you know, in a big car. So I'm thinking, well, crap, I don't want to go to the mall. After I drop them off, I'm like, I don't want to go to the mall. It's my first time ever driving my mom's car and try to park it, you know, try to maneuver, you know, a shopping mall, like a big shopping mall, not just like a shopping center, you know, try to go in the parking lot. So I was like, I will go find the doctor's appointment or the doctor's office because I'd never been, and then I'll go see what's around there. Well, like half a block away from the doctor's office was a Starbucks. So I thought, you know what? I had like 4 hours. It's like, I have my iPad, my headphones. I'll just sit and knit and watch podcasts, and I will park the car and I won't have to worry about it. So that's what I did. So basically this whole sock got done. I mean, not really, but basically, on my IVF consultation appointment day, because I had nothing to do but to sit at Starbucks and knit. And shorty socks, oh my goodness, they go by so fast. Because normally, once you turn the heel, whether you're going toe up or cuff down, once you turn the heel, you're like, oh, I'm halfway. And then you're just so over it. But shorty socks, you turn the heel and then you have like an inch and you're done and you have a whole sock. So I was super excited. So what I think I'm gonna do is I have another doctor's appointment on Tuesday. So today's Sunday, so Tuesday. I have a doctor's appointment in the morning and I have a doctor's appointment in the afternoon at the same clinic. So it's gonna be the same deal where I have like 4 hours to kill. Only now I know where the local yarn shop is. So I could go sit at the yarn shop and knit if I wanted to. But I think Tuesday I will cast on the second one, and then there'll be like complete IVF socks. Oh, there's like a huge, I don't know if you guys can hear that. Sorry. Like the windows are vibrating. It's like an airplane or a helicopter or something. But it's gotta be so low because like all of the windows and doors are vibrating. Sorry. So they will be my IVF socks, like, and they'll remind me of my doctor's appointments. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm not really in a hurry to cast it on because I have a new cast on, which I'll show you in a minute. So sock number 5 for this trip. And I'm quickly going through my sock yarn. So there's that. Okay, what else did I knit? All right. I worked some on my cozy memory blanket. Where's the row? So on Friday, I worked, oh my goodness, guys. The store here opens up at 4:30 in the morning, which is so early. So I worked on Friday like 4:30 to 1. So it was like an 8-hour day. It was so long and I was so tired. And then I got home and no, it was Friday. Maybe that was Saturday. I don't know. No, Friday I did not work. That was Saturday. Anyways, Friday I got off at 11 because then I came home and my girlfriend from high school, well, my girlfriend Kendra and I have been friends like since kindergarten. I mean, we went all through grade school and middle school and high school together. So she's been my like lifetime best friend. She was in town visiting her parents because her parents are still here and she lives up in the Bay Area. And she was down with her little 2-year-old baby. And so we got together for lunch. So I walked, it's probably like 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles downtown from my parents' house. And so it was super nice outside and I thought I will walk from my parents' house to go have lunch with her. And then after, like we had a super good lunch. After lunch, I was walking back home and my sister called and she needed to go up to Oakland, which is like 2 hours away, to go look at some lizards. She has like this, the art studio for kids. And so she has all sorts of exotic animals so they can draw them and observe them and learn about them. And she's getting into like homeschooling, having homeschool classes at her studio. So, she needed, like we need yarn. She needed these new lizards. And they only had them up in Oakland and they're very rare, or the one was very rare. So she didn't want to drive by herself and she's like, do you want to go with me? I was like, sure. As long as I can take my knitting, I'm totally game. Right. And I had to work at 4:30 the next morning. That's why. So we couldn't stay out very late. I was like, nothing crazy, but I can do a car ride. So we drove and it was rush hour traffic up in Oakland. It took us like 3 hours to get up there. And then we spent probably an hour at this Vivarium. It's like this huge store and they have all sorts of living reptiles and I don't know, they like plants for your reptiles and tanks and stuff. Yeah, totally not my kind of place. But it was like Disneyland for my sister. So I had a long car ride. So I did pretty much a whole row on my cozy memory blanket. So this one's new, this one, the turquoisey, that one, sparkles, green, that one, blue, and this gray. And then I have like a variegated blue that I'm going to do in the corner right there. And then that will be one like another whole row squared off on my blanket. So my blanket had 151 squares, so it's got 159 squares. So it'll be 160 after I square off this row. And it is, how many did I say? 2, 4, 6, 8 squares wide. Yeah. So it's 16 squares wide right now, like long. And I think I'm gonna make it 20. 20 squares will just cover like the edge of a queen bed to the edge of a queen bed. So 2 people could easily snuggle under 20 squares wide. I'm not sure how long I will make it, but what I'm gonna do is I'll make it as wide as possible, like as wide as it's gonna be, and then I'll just lengthen it on both ends, and we'll see how big it gets before I feel like stopping. So right now it's at, if this is the center, it's got 8 squares and 8 squares. So I'm gonna make this go to 10, and then I'll go over here and make that go to 10, and then we'll just work it down. But yeah, I love it. It's got all the ends from the top row. All of the ends, like in the middle, you can see are all woven in. It's just, you can't really weave in these ends until you do another row, because otherwise it makes it hard to pick up the stitches on this end if the ends are woven in. So I will take any excuse not to weave in the ends. So yeah, but just so you guys are proud of me, all of the middle is all woven in and pretty. And again, if you haven't seen it before, this is the dead center. So I'm making all of the V's will come to a point there. Yeah, I love it. It is so addicting to knit on. I knit 4 squares going up and 3 squares coming home because we sat in traffic going up, so that took longer than coming home. And so it's just fun to know, like, oh, that row I knit, on an adventure with my sister. So yeah, so my cozy memory blanket, I love it. It is definitely cozy, and I'm going to put in my leftovers from my snowman socks, and probably most of the leftovers from my fade socks will be able to fit in here, because this is all neutrals, and so most of those are neutrals too. I won't be able to put the stripey socks in because that's too bright. Yeah, it folds up nicely like a real blanket, and I'm nothing but excited about this. So put that over on the couch. Excuse me. I was gonna say I'm drinking iced coffee with half and half, no sweetener in it. I do not like sweetener in my drinks. So if I'm not drinking iced coffee, I'm drinking black iced tea, no sweetener. But this, after my shift, I will get a big one, and it will last me the rest of the day as far as coffee goes. So I'll just kind of sip on it all day. I don't really drink coffee at work. I don't know, we're just too busy, and then on my 10-minute breaks, all I want is water. Like, I just chug water on my breaks. But yeah, so coffee is what I drink after work. Alright, last work in progress. I just started this one. This is in this fun bag that was gifted to me. It is such a, like, it's huge, but I have a sweater in here, so it's such a good size. It can hold just all of the skeins for the sweater and the needles and the pattern, and I could probably stuff a couple more skeins in here if I needed to. But I can't imagine needing more yarn than this unless I was working like on a blanket or something. So you might remember, if you have watched previous episodes, that I bought this linen yarn and this gorgeous aqua blue to knit the Perkins Cove pullover. So a couple things about this sweater before I show it to you, and there's nothing really to show you, but the pattern is written for fingering weight yarn, and this is DK, and I am a very loose knitter, so I always usually have to adjust my needles a couple needles down in order to get gauge if I'm trying to get gauge. Like on my socks, I could probably do a 00 and have a better fabric. I just don't want to do that. So like all my socks are knit on zeros, last episode I showed you these socks that I tried to knit on ones and they were way too loose. So I just have such a loose gauge. I've tried to remedy it, but as soon as I'm not trying to tighten it up, it just gets so loose again. So it's fine. I know that about myself, and I know that I have to go down a couple needle sizes. So this sweater, because I'm using a bigger yarn, but I have a loose gauge, I am following the size. What size am I? Like 3 sizes too small for me. I'm knitting it I'm following the pattern for the size 40, and really I need like a size 48 if I was getting gauge and doing it in the right yarn. So there is a size for like 48 3/4. So that's probably the size I would do if I was doing this with the correct yarn and needles, but I'm not. So I'm doing it for the size 40. Now what I will have to do, so I'm a very busty person, if you haven't figured this out. So most of the times when I knit a sweater, I have to amend the sweater to cover my bust without being like pulled taut. But the problem is, if I just make a size that's a couple sizes bigger, it's like too loose here, or it falls off, or the arms are too big. So this pullover, it's in a linen. It's supposed to be like a loose fitting one. So I think it'll be really easy to manipulate into what I need. So it is top down. I was gonna say collar down, top down. And so I'm starting out at the size, 40, but I will just keep going until it fits up here. Usually I end up having to do short rows for my bust too, because I need the extra length going down the sweater. Otherwise, if it's just like a square sweater and my bust eats it up, it ends up being like a midriff sweater, and that's not what I need. So this sweater will have a lot of modifications. I will try to write them down on my project page on Ravelry, but I'm really bad at writing modifications down because it's kind of just like do it as you go, and then I don't remember what I did. So we'll see. I will try to write them down. That being said, my Ravelry name is Sergeant Griff's Girl. So it's SGTGRIFFS Girl, GIRL. We have a podcast group. It's the Jessica Ruth RUTH Knits podcast on Ravelry. I'm on Instagram as Jessica Ruth Knits, and I'm on Facebook as Jessica Knits. Like my last name's Knits. It's not really, but it is on Facebook. Okay, Perkins Cove pullover. I'm going to do lots of fixing to get it to work, and I have just cast it on. It's like this. Yeah, there's nothing really to show because I cast it on last night. I've done a couple rows. It is this linen, I think it's linen and cotton. It is 60% cotton, 40% linen. So basically it's just gonna be like that. It's supposed to be like a big scoop neck, so I thought it doesn't really matter what size I cast on because I'm just gonna keep going until it fits. But yeah, so that's all there is to say about this. But I started it, and then starting it just got me super excited to knit on it. So after I finish podcasting, I think I'm gonna go sit outside and work on this sweater. Yeah, but Perkins Cove pullover. I do have a page started in my Ravelry projects, not that it has anything on it. I'm doing this on size 3 needles, and I'm using my Chigoos because those are my favorite. So I have the Chigoo interchangeable set, and I'm using the size 3. Okay, that is the last of what I have been working on. I have a couple acquisitions, and yeah, then I think that's about it. But okay, so Wednesday I had my doctor's appointment, And afterwards, I remembered that there was a yarn shop in the vicinity. And I haven't been to this yarn shop in ages, maybe 5-6 years. So I didn't even know if it was still there. So I Googled it. It said it was still open. And the car took me to the yarn shop. And it was in a totally different place. So I'm glad I didn't try to go where I thought it was, because it wouldn't have been there. And the lady's like, yeah, we moved like 4 years ago. I was like, oops. But whenever I come home to visit, I don't go over I don't go to San Jose. We say over the hill. It's really a mountain. But, so when I come to visit, you know, my parents, I don't go over to San Jose for anything. So I wouldn't have had reason to go to the yarn shop. But now I do. So, and it's right by the doctor's office. So I picked up, oh, they like wrapped it around. Why do you do this? Okay. I picked up a skein of Madeline Tosh. And this is the Twist Light in the Gentle Monster color. So it's Mad Tosh. It's like super Twist Light, Gentle Monster. And this is just, it's a neutral. It's gonna blow it up. Oh, there. No. Maybe. Anyways, it's like a speckledy neutral. It has speckles of orange and like random speckles of pink and blue, but not anything. If I hold, okay, see there, like there's a blue speckle. Yeah, so it's just a really basic neutral, but it's not just a plain, you know, white or cream. So I think I'm gonna do, I really want to knit something for a baby, just in honor of us doing IVF, and whether or not I keep it for us or give it to somebody. I have an itch to be working on baby things. So I think I'm gonna knit the Flax Light pattern by Tin Can Knits. And I have a bunch of neutral colored minis for my blanket. So I'm not sure if I'll do like the collar and the cuffs and the waistband, maybe in a neutral, you know, a different, like a complementary neutral color. Jeez, I can't talk. Or if I'll just do it all. Oh, it's getting blue. Or if I'll just do it all in this one. But I thought this could be if you could see the color, it could be boy or a girl color. So if I knit it either way, I should be okay. This is the only thing I have bought. Well, the only yarn I have bought on my trip, because I did bring quite a bit with me. Yeah. And then I got a package in the mail. So Amy of the Little Tailoress had contacted me asking if I wanted to do a swap. And I said, absolutely. Excuse me. And so she has a podcast, which you probably know, and she is super adorable. And yeah, I just absolutely love watching her podcast. She does it maybe every 5-6 weeks, so it's not, there aren't that many episodes because she has a little baby, Jack, and but every episode is like, it's just golden. So she's one of those people, I feel like she has the Midas touch. Like everything she does turns out so gorgeous. She repaints her furniture, she dyes yarn, she sews, she makes I mean, everything, it's so, I don't know, so gorgeous and so well done, and I'm so envious. She is in the UK, so you know how anything foreign is just like idealized? It's like, oh, romanticized, maybe it's a better word. I'm like, oh, if I lived in London, that's what I would be like. I wouldn't. She's like petite and has adorable blonde hair, and I'm chubby and I have dark hair. I mean, there's no way I would be like her, but she is so adorable. And that doesn't stop me from dreaming about what my life would be like if I lived where she did. So she sent a package, and I don't think we really agreed on what we were going to swap. I sent her some stuff, and she wanted to send some of her hand-dyed yarn. So she didn't just send hand-dyed yarn, guys. She sent an amazing project bag, and it's really gonna blow it up. Okay, it's got her tag on there. She put a little tassel. It's got this like, it's almost like duck cloth bottom. It's super sturdy, canvasy. Boxed corners. Again, it's huge. It's drawstring, so it cinches closed. And then on the inside, there's, okay, so it's like that cream on the inside, but there's a pocket, and there's this braided fabric here, and she had like, so you could put, you know, like pens or whatever, you know, in there. And then there's this piece of rope here, and she had clipped all of these progress keepers to this little rope here. So that way they're not like rolling around in the bottom of your bag. I thought that was such a cute detail. She sent me a super sweet note and some candies and some tea, of course, because all knitters send tea. Let me figure out how I want to show this to you guys. And where are the stitch markers? Oh, here they are. So she sent a bunch of cute stitch markers. She's like, I picked out the most Jessica ones I could find. So it's like, there's a peach and a strawberry, and there's a goat, guys. Can you see the goat? I love it. And a rabbit. Oops, what's back? A rabbit. And an apple. Come on, these are so hard to show. And then last but not least, she included a little pacifier because we're doing IVF. So I thought that was so sweet of her. I feel like I did not send an adequate package for what I got back, which is always my worry when I do a swap with anybody. I'm like, oh, you know, if I send my package first, I'm like, what if it's not good enough? And she's the type of person, she'll love whatever. But I still feel like, oh, she went above and beyond. So, yeah, Amy, I love it. The project bag is incredible. It looks like the Liberty of London fabric, and it very well could be because it's from her. But can you see like the baseball stitching? I mean, everything, her attention to detail is just incredible. It is so well made, so sturdy, and huge. And I can't wait to start something so that I can put it in here. Okay, and then if that wasn't enough, guys, she sent us yarn. So she sent, let's see, this one is mine. Look at this yarn. Look at even her tag. I mean, she stitched the tag together. There, okay, that's the color. So the colorway is Mint Julep. It is a 75-25, 425 meters, 100 grams, BFL stock. So it's got like, it's like a minty green, but then it has like splashes of like highlighter green and then dark greens. Oh, it is so fun. I don't know what I'm gonna make with this yet, but it is gonna be something. So thank you, Amy. I love it. Then she also sent a mini, and she sent something for a giveaway. So I'm going to show these at the same time because I think they're the same. Yeah, they are the same. So this is the giveaway yarn. This is called 1,000 Yellow Daisies. It's like, sorry. Okay, there. So it's this like pale baby yellow, and then it has these speckles of like dark golden. There's like cream in it. It is just gorgeous. Yeah, it is so pretty. And again, her tag is, I mean, just the detail on here. Like, she didn't just slap a tag on it, guys. I mean, she hand stitched all of these tags. This is the same, oh, this is not BFL. This is Superwash Merino 75-25. And then she sent a mini, oh, maybe back there. It's the same colorway, so I won't show that in depth. But thank you, Amy. I love it. And it's gonna be a giveaway. I'm not sure what for yet. So we still have cows going on, or a cow. I'm still co-hosting the year-long sweater or garment cow with Jasmine Jessamine of the Knitted Towel podcast. So we are trying to knit garments this year. They can be for ourselves, they can be for children, they can be for babies, just not like toys or dogs. I really want to have more of a handmade wardrobe, and I've talked about this previously, so I'm not going to go into it too much. But I feel like I'm always saying, oh, someday, when I'm skinny, or, when whatever, X, Y, Z, I will knit sweaters, and I will do all this stuff for me. And then it's kind of like, well, why not now? You might as well just do it. So, and Jessamine was kind of feeling the same way, like she really wanted to knit garments for herself. And so we decided we're going to take this year and knit garments. So, I finished a purple sweat. No, that was last year. I don't know. But that's why I'm doing the Perkins Cove. Yeah. So, garment. So I might use it for that. Sorry, I'm like getting off topic. I might use it for that, or I might host like a special giveaway. I don't know yet. But it'll be given away sometime while I'm out here in California. So that way I don't take it back to Arkansas and then have to mail it back out. But yeah, so be looking for something having to do with the giveaway. And I think that's all I have for you guys today. I keep looking outside because it is so gorgeous outside. I might go sit down by the beach. I grew up here, so I hate the beach. Well, I love looking at it. I hate sand on me. I think just growing up, we would like body surf in the waves, and you would get sand all up in places where you should not have sand. And that kind of just like turned me off of the beach. That said, I will go walk on the beach, but I'm not a big beach bum person, which is silly because I grew up in a beach town. But we have we call it West Cliff Drive. And I'm in Santa Cruz, if I haven't said that. So it's like walking trail like on the bluffs, I guess. And then there's like random pockets of beaches. So I really like going down on West Cliff, and it's just miles of walking trails, and you can drive on it too. But I'll go down there, and there's benches and places to sit. So I can sit and knit, or, go for a walk and just enjoy the gorgeous view of the bay, without having to have sand in my toes. So I might do that later today. I don't know. It's Sunday, so it might be kind of crowded. I might save it for a weekday when there's not as many people. But yeah, it's gorgeous outside. I worked this morning, so I'm already off. I don't know. What else is there to do? What do people do all by themselves? So my siblings are here, but they have their own lives, and all of my friends have moved away. I don't know. So I think Tuesday I'll go hang out at the yarn shop up there. I don't know if there's more than one in San Jose. I'm sure there is, because it's a pretty big town or city or whatever. But the one I really like is called Green Planet Yarn. And I wore my fade when I went in on Wednesday. I was wearing my fade because it was kind of chilly, and they oohed and awed over it, and I was like, oh, my people, like, I have arrived. So it was fun to be able to talk knitting again, out here, because like my parents, they'll listen to me talk knitting and they're like, oh, that's cool, but it's not the same as when you're talking to a fellow knitter. So so then I was at Starbucks as a customer, not like it was on my day off, and there was this lady knitting across the lobby, and she was making a sock. And so I was like, do I go over and say hi, or is that weird? So finally I got up to get a refill or something, and then I was like, I'm just gonna go say hi. I would want somebody to come say hi to me if they wanted to. So I go over and I'm like, oh, you're knitting, like, are you making a sock? And she's like, oh yeah. So she starts talking to me and showing me the pattern. And she was very nice. Like, it wasn't like, yeah, clearly I'm knitting, like, you're bothering me. Like, she was, showing me her stuff and, talking. So I didn't feel at all like I was bothering her. And then I go back and sit down, and, like, 2 minutes later, she gathers all her stuff up and leaves. And I was like, did I scare her off? I mean, it was probably something like she was probably waiting to meet a friend and the friend couldn't make it or something, and she just got the text, So it probably had nothing to do with me. But I was just like, I'm sorry, come back. I won't talk to you. It's okay. There can be two of us knitters here. So I've met her, and I've since seen her in Starbucks knitting, when I've been working, and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go talk to her. But then today I was in line at Starbucks after my shift, and this lady in front of me had yarn in her purse. So I was staring at her back. So I was kind of like eyeing her purse, is that yarn? Is it not? And then her husband walks over to me, and I was like, oh, is he gonna think I'm like checking out her purse, to steal stuff? So then, finally she turns around. I'm like, oh, do you knit? And she's like, oh, I crochet. So she was going to a memorial for a gentleman who used to own a yarn shop somewhere around here. So she was wearing a hand crocheted vest or a shirt, and then she had a vest over it, and she had like a cozy for her coffee mug that she'd crocheted. And she's like, yeah, I used to work at the yarn shop, and this gentleman had it before he passed. So it was super fun, just to be stuck. It was a long line, so we got to talk. So that was fun, and I did not scare her off. So it's fun to see the community out here, just that they knit and they crochet. And so I'm hoping I will find like a local knit group that maybe I can go to, in the afternoons when I'm off or something, even if it's one night a week. Most of my shifts at Starbucks are in the mornings. I tried to do it, or I asked for it that way. Not to say that all my shifts will be, but I asked for mornings because that way if I have to go over to San Jose in the afternoons, I know, I have the afternoons free to make doctor's appointments. So, yeah. So I could go to a knit night if I find one around here. So I think that is all. I'm rambling now. I'm going to try to figure out how to upload this to YouTube from my iPad, so wish me luck. Yeah, I hope you guys are well. We have some new followers. Oh, maybe that's what I'll do. We have surpassed 200 followers, which for me is a huge step. I am so super excited about that. So maybe I'll do like a 200 follower giveaway. Maybe that's what I'll do. Don't hold me to it. But maybe that's what we'll use the yarn for, and then that would be fun. So thank you to everybody that has subscribed. If you haven't, and if you like this video, and if you want to be notified, next time I post a video, go ahead and subscribe. If you guys like the video, hit the little like button, because that, YouTube ranks all their videos, and so if a video is liked a lot, it'll suggest it to more people, so that way more people can find us. I'm not a maker. I'm not a pattern designer. So I feel like all of the mega podcasts, they all produce something. And I'm like, I don't produce anything. I just give you guys entertainment. And I kind of like the podcasts when they don't show, they don't have a yarn shop, or they don't, I'm going to take that back. Okay. I like podcasts equally when they are makers versus non-producers. It is fun to see, what people are dying. But at the same time, I also like watching podcasts when it is just sitting in the living room with my girlfriend talking about knitting. And it's not like, oh, I have this yarn in my shop and this yarn in my shop and this and this. Because while I like to see all of that, a lot of times I feel like I just can't buy it, so I just tune it out. So yeah, so that being what I was trying to say is, I know I don't have a ton of followers, but it is every single follower is exciting for me, because I'm I don't produce anything, so you guys are not getting anything other than an hour of entertainment from this podcast. So I appreciate you guys for subscribing. Even though you're not going to get hand-dyed yarn from me. So now I'm really rambling, so I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. tune in next time to see, hopefully I'll have another sock and maybe part of a sweater. And yeah, we'll see what I have in store then. Alright guys, go enjoy the weather outside and happy knitting. Bye.